Previously in X-Men. Although Mastermind's plot to destroy the X-Men failed, some wounds cut very deep. At the same time, both Storm and newcomer Rogue are perhaps even stronger positions on the team due to the obstacles presented. And no one seemed to benefit more from the entire fiasco than Scott and Madeline Pryor, who have cleared the air about the past, perhaps, and only have a bright future for which to look forward. I am Jason Lapidus.
I am disappointed the Jays lost game 1 of their playoff series, but that's okay. I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of 7 Comics. Welcome to episode 94 of our ongoing Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 176 by writer Chris Claremont, penciler John Romita Jr., inked by Bob Wiacek, cover date of December 1983. Right to the important stuff, Chris, the baseball. It is not the playoffs, by the way.
You know, by definition, are you saying like the wild card?
It is the postseason.
So
it's just after the season, but the playoffs only start once the teams.
What do you think for the championship series, like the ALDS?
Well, so right now the first place and second place teams in the division don't even play,
right?
Because it's not even the playoffs yet.
Oh,
it's a play-in, not a playoff.
It's playoffs.
It's like if they want to make the playoffs, they have to play into it. So they're in like a little thing to see if they make the playoffs. Listen, when we were kids,
I mean, that's splitting straws, I think, is when it comes to.
When we were kids and the Jays were 2-time back-to-back champions.
Yeah.
Was there this wild card nonsense extra round?
There was not.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
Except, now that I come to think about it. Back in 92 and 93, when the Jays, so there was 3 or was there 2? Was there only 2 divisions at that point, East and West? I think there's only 2. And you finished top of the East and you finished top of the West, and then they played in the American.
Well, no, the top 2 would play each other, right?
That's what I mean. But it was still 2 divisions, wasn't
it? Perhaps.
And they realigned.
They played in 92.
They played Oakland. That's the Robbie Alomar does.
They played Oakland, though, in the second round.
Right.
To win the American League.
Right. Because they played Oakland and Atlanta.
Yeah, but who'd they play first?
I can't remember.
There you go. So that all I'm saying is this thing that we're watching now is even less memorable than the first round you can't remember. It's like one before.
Was there I don't even know if there was one.
Of course there was.
Was there?
Yeah, man, they had to win the pennant. They had to get there.
Well, that's what I think by finishing first.
The top 2 teams, didn't they play each other?
I don't know.
Wouldn't they have to play like Minnesota like they do now?
I don't know. Help us out.
Oh, there were 3 divisions, East, Central, and West back in 92, 93. Chuck says, howdy, ex-friends. We'll start with that. I don't want to talk to Texas Rangers fans right now. It's like the last guy I want to talk to.
Hey,
I'm just teasing.
Good on you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm happy to see the Rays beat. Who cares about Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm not even fussed with baseball just yet. I'm really focused on X-Men and Batman and Ahsoka. And I will admit, I'm even more interested in preseason Maple Leafs hockey than I am in postseason Blue Jays baseball. Okay, there you go.
I found it. They had one series, the AL Championship Series. And they beat Oakland, and then they went on to play Atlanta. There
wasn't a series before that?
There was not a series before that.
Because that's real baseball.
That's right. And Chuck's a Strohs fan. Or as they originally known, the Colt 45s. A little bit of baseball trivia, though, Chuck, I'm sure you're pretty aware.
But before that, they were the Colt 44s. But anyway, and then before that, anyway, just teasing around. Stuff's going on. Let's talk X-Men for a minute. Because, reasons.
We probably should. It is the name of the show.
Well, yeah. I want to show you. Look at this. Can you see that?
Nice.
It's really neat to see.
Nice.
Like the actual, the amount of correction fluid on that. If you look at Cyclops his left wrist. You can see on the hand all the correction fluid, which is just I guess where Wiacek wanted to make some changes, and still pencils on there. That is one dirty piece of paper.
Is this where did you track this one down?
This is just online.
Oh, it's not like part of a book?
It very well could be part of a book, but this one's just online. Probably, I don't even know what site I got it from, truthfully. Just in Google Image, I found it right away and saved it. It could be on like Comic Art Fans or Heritage Auctions or anything like that. These things, it's posted pretty clearly, so it's likely one of those. Mm-hmm. But it's just neat to see, one of his really early covers, and like a lot of the things that are Romita, he hasn't really figured out how to do yet. Like, it was a big controversy just to get them to blow up the logo. Like, that was a fuss.
Was it?
Shooter didn't want, like, they were battling to figure out.
I think it looks cool.
It does. It doesn't match the story all that well. Like, I was thinking about when you want to do underwater, one of the things that really helps with the storytelling is playing with the up and down, like turning things on their side. Having him, I mean, in the story, we know he's shooting down. He's shooting into the deep. Right. And, that's fine. And bubbles are also going straight up, which is like you have a chance to, again, disorient him and create depth. And the bubbles are just by going only vertical. It's maybe a missed opportunity to kind of go a little more wild. But if Romita really wants to blow up the logo, then he has to use the straight up to do that. But I do think it looks cool. It's a neat cover.
I think it's cool seeing Cyclops blow the logo up. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I also find it really charming that, he's got to wear the costume, right? Like, covers, you put them in costume, even if they're not going to do that inside the issue. Mm-hmm. Cool to see who signed it, like all the little pieces there. Yeah, and John Romita signed it more than once, right? He signed it like 3 times.
At the top.
Right? In 83, he signs it. Probably the first sale. Signs it again in 1990 at probably New York Comic Con or something like that. And then there's the other one at the bottom. I don't know when he signed that one, but it's kind of funny. As it goes from owner to owner, right? They bring him to sign.
Oh, this whole thing.
And you see how brown and dirty the page is. This is probably because it's in the home of a smoker.
Right.
Yeah. Archives. There you go. You don't know nothing about that.
Don't smoke, kids.
No, especially if you collect comics. And then take a look at the next one. You ready? Because I know you know the cover of this issue now, the regular cover. But when they went to do X-Men Classic, Romita goes again. He is up. I don't know how this came about that he was doing covers, because before him is Adam Hughes, but this is a very different version of Romita. He knows his how to go. Clearly, he looks like he works a lot faster. He might have inked this himself. I'm not sure. There's no credit for an inker. It's 1992, so it's 9 years later. And blocky Romita is here. His blocky flat fingers, the shapes, everything. And it's funny, to think he's got 2 cracks at the same cover. And I don't know how many artists ever get to do that.
I was going to say.
I'm not a huge fan of the color choices. It's very tropical and looks almost like a happy occasion.
Well, it's like an NHL expansion franchise colors from.
You make a good point. Right? You make a good.
I really don't like that blocky X-Men Classic, but that's.
No, when they decided to switch from Classic X-Men to X-Men Classic and rebrand and let even the Jim Lee adjectiveless X-Men series, they stretch out the graphic of X-Men to fill more space, and it never looks as good as the one that Steranko designed in the late 60s or mid to late 60s that lasted for so long. And it's still the most definitive X-Men logo and one of the best comic book logos of all time. So yeah, it never looks good. I hate it, actually, but Cyclops looks awesome.
He does. And, spoiler alert from both covers, Cyclops fights creatures from the sea, which I think it's just a hilarious. It's such an issue that it's kind of what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But we just have this massive arc come to an end with Scott and Madeline getting married. So what do you do next?
That's right. Well, we've seen before a few times now these transitional issues where like setting up new conflicts, and Claremont I think is actually really good at it, and I've often enjoyed those issues. So I don't mind when you spend, like the payoff is greater the longer you kind of build it up. If the story, earns it. And I like when he has these in between issues where you can kind of jump on, figure out, okay, what's the conflict going to be, or what conflicts are at play, and then also catch up with everybody. And this is a weird one because a couple of the catch-ups feel like do we really need to? Do I really want to go back down there? And for me, I've never been a big fan of the Morlocks. So when we get there, I'm not happy about it. But we've got lots of things to read. Of course, you can find this issue in X-Men Essentials Volume 4 as a big fat phone book style newsprint. But today I'm happy to read it in the original. And Chris, how are you reading this for newcomers to the show?
I'm reading it through the magic of DVD-ROM in the early aughts. From the original scans onto PDF. So when we read the comic, we put it up there for the audience. That's the original scan, staples and all, taken from the 1983 comic book.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, and we can see as we get into it.
Oh, I haven't done the thing. Hold on. Let me do the thing. The thing.
Props to the colorist though
thing
for
has been done.
Making the underwater yellow, the dark yellow. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. What are you laughing at?
It's just, Scott fighting an octopus, and it's
perhaps, maybe it's a mutant. Maybe it's a mutant or one of those fish people from that island base that they've now abandoned.
That's
that
right.
They never went back to. Like, what happened to that? They never even talked about it.
It's in the past. That's where the next X-Men series is going to go. They're just going to drag that thing back to the ocean.
Yeah. All right. I'm all into it. Hey, and by the way, Chuck, I'm sorry if I offended you with calling you perhaps a Rangers fan. It's all in good fun, man. But yeah, Houston. Okay, there you go. Stros. All right, let's do this.
Okay, let's get into this underwater adventure.
Decisions. And here we get another example where maybe JR doesn't exactly know how he wants to forever do Cyclops' glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's trying something. And it took Paul Smith a few issues to figure out what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And although the models are still really close to the Paul Smith version of the X-Men, different shorthand, like cartoonist shorthand, is unique to each person. And I don't know how long it's going to take for John to figure out like how he really likes to do those glasses, but it's kind of funny to see it play out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And as you've said and even written in the title of this comic, this issue, it's the most hanky-panky we've come across in an X-Men comic, I think, ever so far.
Oh yeah.
So there you are.
Okay, one last legacy note about Romita.
Sure.
This is his first tour of duty on the X-Men, and it is not his last. He does a very, very long tour now that we're going to be reading through, with a few, issues off here and there, and he will come back again in the 90s, in the early 90s, around issue 300 of the series. He's back on the book, and he's like on again, writing Trial of Magneto stuff like now, contemporary, drawing X-Men comics. It seems every decade he kind of comes back for another tour of duty, which is pretty cool. That he really is like a legacy creator on the franchise. Yeah.
All right.
Chuck says, I just noticed Madeline is still looking forward and flying the plane. Yeah, I think that's some fun cartooning there.
She is, yeah. She's
Decisions. Yes.
Do you want? So a lot of this is Madeline, Wallace, and Scott. Do you have a preference?
No.
I mean, I can. All right, I can do Madeline if you want to do Scott. Then
I don't have a preference, so whatever you want is fine with me.
All right. I'm gonna start
somewhere. Oh, go ahead. What was that?
No, go ahead. You go.
Somewhere over the South Pacific. Top of the morning to you, Mrs. Summers.
Scott, at least give me a chance to engage the autopilot, or would you rather swim the rest of the way to Bora Gora?
I'm guessing they don't want to say Bora Bora, so they just make
Guessing.
up a place called Bora Gora. Thinly veiled reference. I'll go anywhere, do anything, so long as it's with you, my darling.
Give me a break.
Better yet, try another kiss. Oh, that's her. Go ahead.
Is that her too?
I think
Better
so.
yet, try another kiss. This old crate can fly herself for a while.
Later, for some reason.
Look at those jorts.
Oh, I'm gonna take exception.
Okay.
I don't think those are jorts.
No, because they're tear-offs or
Cut-offs?
cut-offs.
Cut-offs is fair, or you can call them jean shorts. But a jort is manufactured to be a jean short.
I see. They don't have the spontaneity of the ripped cut-offs.
Yeah, or the rebellious spirit inherent in those tight cut-offs.
Understood.
I end up wearing jean shorts that are cut-offs a lot around the house. Not nearly as short as Scott's. Of course, if I look like that, I very well might wear them that short. But I wear them a lot around the house. And my kids love to say that I'm wearing jorts. Like, it gives them pleasure to just comment on my jorts.
Old man jorts over here.
It's really funny. I like when they try and pick something to tease me about, because they feel empowered, and it lets them. We are a very teasing focused family, so I'm glad they have that one to work with. Bet you never realized I was an incorrigible romantic.
Incorrigible something, that's for sure.
I took your breath away.
That you did.
So when did we land?
Hotshot, at this rate, neither of us will survive our honeymoon.
True, but what a way to go. Like doing it while crashing an airplane.
Yeah. Thrill seeker.
Sign of a young penciler. Like, why does Scott's right leg have to break the panel barrier? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't add any value. There's no narrative value to that. It doesn't make the drawing any more interesting.
It certainly does not do that.
No. But this is just where he's trying things, right? He's trying to figure out what can I do to make it better. And this was not one of them. But there you go.
There you go. Buster, you better be this eager on our golden anniversary.
What's the matter, Madeline? You sound tense.
I'll bank the goose a little. Take a look behind us. There's a nasty front chasing our tail.
So I see. Hurricane?
Too small and out of season, but pretty rough nevertheless. According to the weather reports I've been monitoring, we're outrunning it, though we should reach safe harbor long before it hits the islands. All right, so in 2 pages, you got a full page spread of them kissing. Then in this page, you've got a later, and then coming back, and then her talking about how eager he is.
Right.
It's like non-stop.
Is you suggesting they just had sex?
I am definitely suggesting not that.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. It's a kid show, man. Come on.
No, this is actually one of the criteria when I set up the details on the YouTube live stream. I have to specifically select that it is not for children.
Right.
So you're allowed to say that that there is an allusion to the characters participating in consensual romantic relations. That's okay.
That's a really nice way of saying people were getting together.
Boning on autopilot.
Exactly. All right. We've been on the road for weeks, Scott. Make your mind up yet about joining your dad aboard the Starjammer?
Nope. I'm running out of time, too. They'll be warping out of orbit soon. If I stay, I may never see him again. If I go with him, I may never see Earth. Yow! Madeline, what's happening? What have we flown into?
Lying squall! Whatever that is. Moving ahead of the main storm.
This turbulence is incredible, like flying into a brick wall.
Try to hold her steady, Scott. We can't let the wind pitch us all into a stall.
Lightning! We've been hit!
The electrical system's short-circuiting. Ah!
A vicious gust throws the goose onto one wing. She hangs poised a moment. Quick action by her crew could still save her, but nothing happens. And she rolls onto her back and begins a fast, fatal spin. By the way, another illusion there, rolling onto her back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I'm tapping my nose. Say no more, say no more.
Toward the Pacific, far below. You know what Pacific is code for.
Oh, man, do I ever.
And then these cartoons, oh my gosh, just to quickly say, I remember Menudo, which of course was not a cartoon, but
no.
Some of these were so quickly presented and quickly gone. So I'm about 8 years old, and man, like the Rubik's Cube show, Mon Chichi, like, oh God, come on.
Mon Chichi. Are the monkeys?
If you think that's a monkey, it's clearly a Mon Chichi. And then like the Pac-Man
Cube show. Woohoo!
This all was so awful.
This is so terrible.
Just give me some superheroes, please.
The puppies' further adventures.
Yeah, ABC had nothing for me on Saturday mornings in 1983. Yeah, I was just waiting for superheroes or watching another network.
Mm-hmm.
You suck, ABC. All right. Agarashima in the northern Japanese prefecture of Miyagi. Ancestral seat of Clan Yoshida.
Who is there? What do you want?
Translated from the Japanese, Louise.
Wolverine.
Evening, Mariko. That's your sword, I believe. The honor blade of the clan. 2 days ago, an Imperial messenger delivered it to me in New York. I want to know why.
It is yours by right.
If that's true, you are mine as well. I love the posture on his hand and left buttocks. Just the Miller mood of that is really strong too. And then the, almost Wolverine in silhouette there. Just nice. Nice to see Romita getting to do Wolverine. It's kind of cool.
Totally. No, it's a cool shadow look for sure.
Yeah. By the way, another scene of a couple in a bedroom. Just
exactly. This is the hanky panky issue.
Yep.
Hey, Logan-san. No, I love you. Nothing in life would make me happier than to become your wife. But this cannot be.
Bull. You called off our wedding because Mastermind made you. But he's beaten Miko. Xavier undid all the psychic damage he caused. Everything should be just the way it was.
Are you mad or blind to think that? Nothing is the same. When you killed my father, you chose a path of honor, though you believed that doing so would cost that which you held as dear. Me. Now, beloved, is my turn. Thanks to my father and to me, because of what I did while under Mastermind's influence, Clan Yoshida is bound body and soul to the Japanese underworld. Those ties must be broken.
Leave that to me.
No. If I am to remain true to my sense of honor, I must undertake this task myself, and alone. If you love me, more importantly, if you respect me, you will let me do so.
Suppose you fail?
Then the man to whom I have entrusted my heart will do what must be done.
I understand. You know where to reach me, Miko. Sayonara.
Farewell, beloved. You risked all to prove yourself worthy of me, Wolverine. It is only fitting that I do the same. I do not want to die, nor to see others slain in my name, but I am Lord of Clan Yoshida. I cannot shirk that responsibility, no matter what the cost.
Very dramatic. Both these, they want to be martyrs for each other. Like they're, willing
I'm
to
glad,
risk it all.
And I'm glad they came back to kind of tie up this little loose end because, once we all previous issues, we know Mariko is under Mastermind's control, and what it's off, what a lot of that, and
Right.
So it's nice that they the next issue he's back there.
Yeah, he's like, why aren't we doing this together?
Exactly, and I freed you of Mastermind's control, so we should be good now, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much of this is them just writing her out of the series,
right?
Or is this actually like, is there some, I don't know, like some legitimate honor motivation for her to keep Wolverine at arm's length? Like, he would be a huge asset in helping her do this, and he wants nothing more than to help with this.
Oh yeah, I mean, she even says, like, if I fail, then you got to do what you got to do.
Right, but like once you are a couple, like, I don't know, you handle it together. But I get it. There needs to be some conflict in their relationship. If you look at the 2-page spread, there's just sort of almost a repeated drawing of her with her head tilted too many times
It is
at a near close up. Like, we need this is where you look at the 2-page spread as an editor, or as the penciler, and you're like, I need some variety in my work. I gotta change something up. We see he's still using that Paul Smith hair rendering style. Like, he's so interesting to see that he is so heavily influenced, like kind of wanting to stay on brand, and that's the thing he's going for. He's not going for Cockrum. He's not going for Byrne. He's not going for Kirby or his dad. He's going for Paul Smith.
Right.
One that doesn't work at all for me here is the bottom left-hand corner, Wolverine in orange.
Oh, like the tiger.
And then the window shadow on him. There is a way to do this page. I'm really convinced. I bet you it's just way more black. Like, the cast shadow is a screen tone. Maybe that you do black. You do her back wall black. You make him and the light on him the brightest thing there. I don't know. I just find this is ugly, and it's a good idea, but I don't think he knew how to execute it yet. Anyway.
Right.
Fun.
Yeah, totally.
Need to see Romita trying stuff.
And speaking of fun,
somewhere in the mid-Pacific.
Nice.
Any luck with the radio?
Zilch. Those lightning strikes zapped every electronic systems we had. How'd the repair come?
Slow. It's a good thing we packed a lot of spares, or this job'd be hopeless. We haven't got all the time in the world either. You looked west lately? Or felt the swells? That storm's coming our way.
I think we should draw attention to Chuck's comment about, in the chat about what would have happened if they had just concentrated on flying the plane.
That's a good point, Chuck.
Agree, Chuck.
Sexy times.
Because here's more. Care for a kiss, hotshot? Consider it an incentive for getting us out of here.
Hold that pose, Rib. Whoops!
Scott!
Too darned eager for my own good. It's okay, Madeline. I can swim.
Great, dummy. So can he.
Yo!
Are you all right?
He missed, but I won't.
So the shark is left. It's back in the water. And Cyclops is like, not having it. He's like, I'm going to shoot you.
Oh, yeah, you're dead, shark.
Dead shark. You're shaking.
I'm scared. I mean, after all, I've bitten through as an X-Men. To get eaten by a shark on my honeymoon is a bit much.
So how about we fix the engines and blow this joint?
And what this joint, Chris?
Blow this joint.
Oh,
before the storm arrives to give that critter another chance.
Good point. Below, the great fish drifts through the water, trying to shake off the effects of Cyclops' optic blast, the equivalent of being hit by a very big, very fast truck. Unaware, until it's too late, that its role has changed from hunter to prey. Oh my God.
Goodness.
Now, before we go further to
Yes.
Washington, D.C., there are going to be some serious talking from a couple characters here. Are you feeling like a Val Cooper? Are you feeling like a Henry Peter Gyrich? How are you feeling?
I don't think I feel either way.
I'm going to say maybe you do Gyrich, and
Sure.
that just give you a chance to be a dude for a bit.
Sure.
Flex those dude muscles.
Let's go for it.
Washington, D.C. Your identification, sir?
Henry Peter Gyrich, National Security Council. I'm expected. The message from the President's National Security Advisor, Judge Petrie, gave no hint as to why I've been summoned. But I assume it has to do with Project Wide Awake. Huh. The meeting started without me. It's hardly a good sign.
We are witnessing the destruction of the city of Verinkino in Siberian Russia some months ago. However, the volcanic upheaval which devastated that region was not natural in origin. It was the self-styled master of magnetism, Magneto. How do you pronounce? Magneto. Reportedly, he gave the Soviets an opportunity to evacuate the city. No one was killed, but his warning was plain. What was done there could be repeated in Moscow or Washington or anywhere on Earth.
And before you continue, Frank, give Mr. Gyrich a moment to get settled. I believe you know everyone here, Henry. Frank Lowell from CIA at the podium, and Dr. Cooper here beside me of my staff.
Only by reputation, Judge. We've never met. Petrie's gathered representatives of every critical military and civilian security department in the government. What's he up to?
Magneto had issued a worldwide ultimatum. Either disarm all nuclear weaponry and cede absolute sovereignty to him, or face annihilation. The Soviet response was to launch a missile strike at Magneto's base of operations. He sank the sub that fired them and proceeded to make an object lesson of Verikino. Inexplicitly, after those initial communications, nothing more was heard from him. He never carried out his ultimate threat. Either he was bluffing or changed his mind, or some outside agency stopped him. The X-Men in issue 150 did it. Thanks, Louise. Had he persisted, our computers grant him a strong possibility of success, even against the opposition of so-called superhero groups such as the Avengers. Or maybe KISS. Or other really cool groups. The Jackson 5. What the kids are into.
They have some real hot numbers.
Indeed, our research further indicates that were the Avengers themselves to attempt the conquest of Earth, they could do so with ease. They are but a single team, a comparative handful of super beings. There are a lot more where they came from, and the numbers are growing every day. To conclude this briefing, allow me to present Dr. Valerie Cooper. Thank you, Frank. The problem, Judge, colleagues, is mutants. A new evolutionary branch of Homo sapiens, possibly a new species altogether, gifted at birth with extraordinary abilities that set them apart from the rest of humanity. Most prominent among them are the X-Men. I'm going to just interject for a second here.
Sure.
In my biology class in Università, we discussed, scientifically speaking, that the difference between species is the boundary is when the two specimens are not able to produce fertile offspring.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So if like a coyote and a wolf do it,
Yep.
and their baby, who's a coy wolf,
Oh yeah.
can produce fertile offspring themselves, then it turns out the coyote and the wolf are not actually different species, just different breed.
Mm.
And we just, like dogs.
What school did you go to for this?
I went to an accredited university.
All right.
That being said, within the context of the Marvel Universe, mutants and humans can produce fertile offspring.
It happens more often than not.
I think Madeline and Scott are working on it right now.
Right now, again and again and again.
That means that mutants are not a different species. So that's fine, but it often gets talked about. Like, I think writers like to use that as like some kind of foundational principle. Like, it's a new species.
Right.
And then play with the science fiction of that. But it's not actually good science. Like, an offshoot, a branch of the species, but not a different species or distinct onto its own. Back to the story. Initially, the concern about mutant kind was couched in purely biological terms, that they might one day supplant us as rulers of the earth, as Cro-Magnon man did Neanderthal. Not true. Neanderthal was never a ruler of the earth. However, the situation has grown considerably more complicated and dangerous. The virtual monopoly of super beings, mutant and otherwise, once enjoyed by the United States, no longer exists.
Ooh. Also, I love how that picture of the X-Men are, two eras of the X-Men together.
Yeah, and like
It's strange, but it's okay.
It's also interesting that no one but maybe Byrne and George Perez at this moment in time could like draw that version of Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone does him so bad looking, but Perez and Byrne both could kick its butt. Yeah, weird seeing Iceman, right? He's
Very
only been
weird
in
Iceman. Yeah.
one tale with Wolverine after their initial meeting in Giant Size.
Mm-hmm.
They had that one where Doom and Arcade were working together, and the X-Men put together like a 2-tiered assault.
Yeah,
and he was on like the beta team. Anyway,
so weird.
Yeah, I also feels like these versions of her look like Romita. The previous page looked like it was someone else, like a different hand almost.
Yes.
Mutants, adults possessing superpowers, have been identified in the Soviet Union, Great Britain, Canada, Israel, Egypt, and the People's Republic of China, among many others. Both governments and private interests are recognizing the potential inherent in these people and are beginning to exploit it. Imagine, if you will, the damage that could be done by a mutant telepathic spy able to read minds. No one's thoughts, no secret would be safe. Or worse yet, a mutant saboteur, an assassin. For all we know, such operatives may already be at work. We must have the ability to protect ourselves and, if necessary, strike back.
You're suggesting we fight fire with fire? Counter foreign mutants with some of our own?
Precisely, Mr. Gyrich.
Magneto's cardinal argument, Doctor, has been that out of greed, humanity will use mutants, enslave them, and then, out of fear, destroy them. Suppose your plan convinces them he's right. Is your alternative
to do nothing? To leave things as they are?
For the moment, yes.
Mr. Gyrich, do you suppose the Russians maintain as cavalier an attitude? Mutants pose a clear and present danger, one of my favorite movies, to our country that must be dealt with today, at once, for tomorrow will be too late. Mutants in Canada?
I know.
Outrageous. Right? Outrageous.
Outrageous, eh?
Back to the Pacific. That does it, I think. I hope. Madeline, try the engine.
That's a euphemism, by the way.
Right. Try to read that, by the way. Polka. Madeline, cut the switches. What happened to his hair?
That's wet.
When did he turn into like a member of Creedence Clearwater Revival? His hair, it looks so weird. Just even like the glasses seem droopy. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, that was crazy. I was certain I had it this time. I must be screwing up, but I'm darned if I can figure out where.
Pity I didn't turn out to be Phoenix, like Mastermind made you all believe. Then I could simply fly us to safety.
If you had even the slightest conception of the reality of Phoenix, Madeline, you wouldn't make jokes.
You forget, sweetheart. I'm the sole survivor of a plane crash that killed nearly 400 people. I know more than my share about death and resurrection, and nightmare, and miracles. I mean, I snared you. How much luckier can I get?
Feelings mutual, Red. By the way, did I ever tell you that I used to call my dead ex Red? I love when I get to share nicknames. It's like economic use of my brain space. You know, there are no storms in space.
No life either. Back to work, hotshot. We've both fought too hard for hours to give up now.
And by the way, work is in quotations, so we know what she really means. I'm joking. It's not. Don't look, Chris. Don't strain your eyes. Look,
What? It is.
there. Chuck says Scott looks like Slim from the circus issue. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. Another penciling problem here. That's a lot of rain coming down.
It's a lot of rain.
No one's wet. Like their hair should not be in beautiful 80s blow dry coif.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Just talk.
There you go.
I know a lot about having hair in the 80s that was wet.
Right? And how glorious a mane it was.
True. New York City. That's for you, Jason Lowe, wherever you are. Everyone thinks of it as reaching for the stars, skyscrapers turning its streets into man-made canyons. They forget it reaches the other way, too. Wow. I dig this as a transition in.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about those sewers and collecting all that water. 1,000 feet below Manhattan is where the Morlocks live. Like the X-Men, they are mutants. But they care nothing for humanity. They consider themselves outcasts and outlaws. And these tunnels are their domain. Strangers enter at their peril. What are you doing here?
Caliban, is that any way to greet old friends?
Space is Caliban's. You have no right to trespass. Get out.
We haven't seen you in ages. We're concerned, that's all. Wondering perhaps if anything's wrong.
Now we get some real...
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right?
Yeah.
We get some Jack Kirby Thundar the Barbarian.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a He-Man dude with a lightsaber dude with a Chewbacca dude.
That's all the ideas, man.
I mean,
that's
like, come on. You get that awesome little, like, little fat tiger.
Yeah.
Shirt tails. You got some new Flintstone stuff where they're cops. That's weird. I don't want to watch that. And I wasn't a fan of Alvin, Simon, or Theodore.
Or especially Theodore. And are those baby Smurfs?
Well, that was Baby Smurf. He was a specific Smurf that came along once in a blue moon.
Right.
That's a real deep cut for anyone out there who watched the Smurfs. So that was, I don't know if you know that, is if your Smurfs lore is up to snuff, but that was like when they finally brought him along, like the stork literally brought him, and it was a new Smurf would only be born once in a blue moon, and so the episode had like the blue moon and everything, and it was a really big deal. My brother and I were really happy. We thought he was so cute, but anyway, I was really into Hulk and Mr. T and Baby Smurf.
And Baby Smurf.
I remember way too much about Smurfs, but man, seeing Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was like a total game changer for a guy like me. That's where I first saw X-Men. Everything was
totally. So
NBC was the shit for me.
I also love NBA Saturday Morning. We got the Jazz. Like, is that how kids talked? Hey, you got the Jazz, Davey?
Yes, that was how we talked.
You, Billy? I may have been disposed as leader of the Morlocks by that X-Man weather witch Storm, but I still care about my people.
It is nothing. Caliban just wants to be left alone.
Mask knows truth. Still moaning over pretty kitty you are. Sad, oh so sad, 'cause you want Brad for your very own. But can't have her.
Shut up! Picture Caliban's. Room Caliban's. Go away and leave him in peace.
You'll have to throw us out. We four, you, Mask, and Sunder, founded the Morlocks. If we don't look after each other, who will?
Feel so ashamed. You found the picture I used to masturbate to Kitty Pryde.
So many
Please don't
tissues.
find my sock. Please don't find Caliban's sock.
No.
Don't look under pillow. Kitty Pryde promised that if Caliban helped the X-Men, she would stay with him forever. For love of her, Caliban betrayed his friends. But she lied. She never returned.
Oh, poor thing. Your heart made you such a fool.
Caliban knows. Your hatred is no less than he deserves.
It's the child who's at fault. She gave her word. I mean to see she keeps it.
Really, Callisto? No joke?
Be patient, Caliban. Trust me, obey me, and your heart's desire will be yours.
Storm boss now. Suppose she objects.
Then, Mask, I get my heart's desire too.
Interesting. So this is totally, of course, setting up a conflict to come, right? We know that the dynamic is going to return. You know, they're going to go after Kitty and all that stuff. And Storm's going to have to assert herself again. I'm looking forward to another Storm and Kitty story. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Just a storytelling note. This is, I think, the second time that Romita has gone over the page. Like needed another tier to resolve a sub story, like a little narrative. With the Wolverine one, with Mariko, he also needed like a little bit more on the next page to resolve it. And this one, I always think it's neater and tidier to like end it on the same page. And I'm wondering if it's just it's a lot of dialogue for him to kind of get through and try and do the storytelling. And I think he does a decent job, like that each panel kind of does a different part of the storytelling process. I don't know if there's a wasted panel or any more room he could have made, but I wonder if, it's you get to the part where it necessitated one more tier and just isn't any more space. But I bet you it's just more elegant to sort of end it on the same page. But doesn't always work out.
True.
Meanwhile,
she's worsening, Scott. If we don't make it this time,
we've done our best. They ought to start.
In that case, I won't mention Mr. Murphy's Law.
Thanks, honey. I needed that. Cross your fingers. Here goes.
Keep an eye on the engine, Scott, while I haul in this sea anchor. What the bloody thing feels like it's snagged? Ah!
Good cliffhanger on the page turn.
Absolutely.
That works. A golden opportunity. Madeline! So much rain and spray. I couldn't see clearly. Did she fall or was she yanked overboard? Interesting choice of words. No sign of her. What the heck could have happened? And of course, this is like a miscolor page. Like he shouldn't be orange.
Golden or whatever it is. Here.
Yeah. I mean, come on. It's weird.
Scott!
Good Lord. A tentacle. Careful. I want to blast Madeline. I want to blast Madeline loose without hurting her. Huh? Something touched my leg. Again, like good on the end of the page. Like if you want to go to the next, keep reading. And then great use of the vertical panel. Give us a sense of. And I wonder if this is not actually it would have been better if you do the full reveal on this panel, like show how long those tentacles are, as opposed to doing it in the next one. Do it in this one. Have him smaller and see the
Oh,
whole
that'd be
thing.
cool. Yeah, that'd be
Maybe. Just different choice. I don't know if it's actually better.
cool. Yeah.
Whoa! Glasses. I mustn't lose my glasses. I'm virtually helpless without them. I won't be able to see a blessed thing. I thought squids this size only existed in movies. Live and learn, I guess. I can't afford to be gentle. Great. It released both of us. Maybe that monster will take my hint and leave us alone. No! Again, on the page turn, right?
Mm-hmm. But I like how the octopus has realized where the sources of energy is coming to block them.
Oh, it knows.
It knows.
This is one smart cephalopod.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you. Biology class, remember? Bad move, Buster. Take a drink. At this range, my optic blast can punch through steel armor plate. Trouble is, busting free is the least of my problems. Madeline!
Over here, behind you.
Keep yelling. Use your voice to guide me. I lost my glasses. The only way to prevent my optic blast from firing is to keep my eyes shut tight.
I saw you zap the squid. Did you kill it?
The water blunted the force of the beam. I doubt I could even hurt it much, except to make it mad.
Swim straight ahead. The plane isn't far.
Oh, no! Sort of like this panel, like how you see the whole thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That's sort of what I meant. Couldn't grab decent breath. Only seconds to act before I drown. Squid's pulling me straight down. Must be directly below. Madeline's still on the surface, out of my line of fire. I don't have to worry about her. Let's see how well this monster handles a full power blast.
And then
I have a terrible joke to make, but I won't make it.
Oh, were you gonna say calamari tonight, Madeline, for dinner?
No, I was gonna say that let's see how well this monster handles a full power blast is my finishing line.
Nice. Okay. So I went straight for just like a menu item, but you went very far.
Got it. But how deep am I? Lungs hurt, almost no breath left. I mustn't panic. That'll finish me for sure. Air! That's what I yell, by the way, when I come up for air out of the ocean.
Haven't you been in a public pool and everyone's just coming up yelling, air, 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 air?
Now what? If I open my eyes to look at the plane, I could destroy it. Why is his hair so long all of a sudden? Like the sides, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Again, it looks like he's maybe in the monkeys now. He's like, he's in the... I'm being grabbed again. Another squid. I can't tell the difference between fingers and suction cups.
Stop struggling. It's me. It's Madeline. We're lucky we're in the lee of the goose. The water isn't as rough. When we reach
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll shove you inside, then swim forward and take care of the sea anchor.
Is she coming on to him again?
She is.
Barely made it, even with Madeline's help. Swallowed too much ocean. I want to be sick. I want to lay down and die. If I don't get my act together, I'll get my wish. Where's my flight bag? It's carrying my costume and visor. There. This ruby quartz lens gives me complete control over my eye beams. If Lynn runs into any more trouble, I'll be able to help her properly. Maybe the spread I dislike the most. Those Cyclops faces. I don't know, man.
You mean just having the helmet on?
Especially the weird-born one, but we'll get to
Yeah,
it.
I agreed.
The anchor must be aboard. We're starting to bounce all over the place. The waves shoving us where they will. A big comber could capsize us.
They're on their way, lover. Saw them coming. We've got maybe a minute. And you know how you're like, oh, well, now no one's wet in the rain. She's definitely wet of being in the ocean. He's dry.
Yeah.
He's dry. Hit those switches and let's roll.
Poke blam. They won't start.
Small wonder. This is an airplane, not a submarine, genius. The engines are probably as waterlogged as we are.
True. Nothing left but to keep trying till we get it right. How about a kiss for luck?
For love. Good pilots never depend on luck. And we, Hotshot, are two of the best.
Ignition. You know what got started there?
Oh, yeah.
Catch, you big ugly beast. Catch.
Woohoo! We're
airborne.
Scott, love, I hate to spoil an absolutely magnificent moment. But we're not out of the woods yet. We've no instrumentation, no communications, and a very long way to go to reach a very small island in the middle of a really huge ocean.
No problem. We'll make it fine. You got my guarantee.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Modest.
The lady said, one of the best. Who am I to argue?
You're sounding awfully chipper.
you know why. Being alive has that effect sometimes. Also, I made up my mind about joining my dad in the Starjammers. He's going off to fight a war. I've seen enough of war and death. His life's made him hard, almost cruel, in a way I never want to be. I want to be selfish for a while. I want a life, a family, all the things I've never had before the X-Men. I want you, Madeline. I want to be happy. Is that wrong?
Sounds great to me. And I'll bet to your dad as well.
Too bad the autopilot isn't working.
Thank heaven for small favors. Tired as I am, though, Scott, I do love you.
That's fine, because I love you too.
Wow. Tired as I am.
Yeah, he's like, let's go bone again.
Again.
Yeah, no wonder he's in a good mood. I also really do like this page of Cyclops faces, like especially the bottom one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a really kind of perfect Cyclops face, and that's the beginning as they fly away. This one felt like those were really, really contrived obstacles, like the shark and the squid for some reason at the surface of the ocean. And the storm, they just feel like this was Claremont in a stalling pattern.
Right.
I do get the idea of setting up the other three stories. So we've got, the government looking at the threats of staying out of the mutant issue. Do you know what they're alluding to there? Like what it's foreshadowing?
X Factor?
Okay, that's fair. That's
like
very
having
fair.
a government-sponsored team of response team.
Cool. And
what are you thinking?
Well, I know because I remember what comes. I was reading slightly after this, so I kind of know the consequences of those conversations.
Okay.
So yeah, I think X Factor is a very fair conclusion for you to draw. And then like the Wolverine thing feels like, okay, we just got that little tag. Could have been, next issue, could have been this issue. Doesn't really matter at this point, but I'm glad we got it. And then of course the Morlocks piece is like, okay, we know we're getting a conflict there. So I get those things all had to happen, but like this one, just having Cyclops and Maddie have this hiccup. Does it matter that he doesn't have his glasses anymore? Like, is that going to be part of a story? I wonder.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. It's a rando, right? I mean, we've got a little bit of story to pepper the next coming issues, but generally,
And did you read ahead?
No.
I know you never do. I know. I just was asking, just to see if maybe you didn't get your fill, and you wanted to know what's coming next.
Right.
Because I am curious to see what comes next after.
Well,
this.
in 177, we jump into 1984.
Yeah, it's cool. It's neat. It's closer to, like what feels like the time when I was reading.
Mhm.
I'm looking at that issue actually right now. Oh, I will just throw one thing out there.
Please do.
Issue 177 is penciled by John Romita Jr. and inked by John Romita Sr.
Ooh,
So we are going to get a very slick hand
that's pretty cool.
over JR's stuff, and it's a thicker line, just beautiful brushwork, and it's neat to see his father's like classic 70s and late 60s style
Right.
over top of his son's energy, and like where they work well together and maybe where it doesn't last. But yeah, we're going to see some cool stuff.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one with you next week on the channel. Of course, we've got to get through a nice week here. I know that, of course, the the season finale of Ahsoka is on now. Now it just dropped, on Disney Plus at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we got some more baseball coming up.
Game 2.
Tomorrow?
Toronto, same time. Toronto, Minnesota.
4 o'clock?
4:30.
Oh, 4:30. Okay, that's not bad. And then in terms of comic stuff, we don't have any appearances this month, but next month we've got, some stuff at some places.
Oh, yeah, we do.
That should be fun.
Yeah, we've got a few that are confirmed. So we'll be in Whitby, Ontario for the Whitby Comic Arts Festival. And we'll be in Cambridge, Ontario for an event of Hero's Tale. And I think back in Guelph, too, for a book bash as well. So a few things.
Right. I'm looking forward to that stuff. And I know I've got some classroom workshops this month, which should be fun. 2 of the schools that we were at last year reached out to have us back. And I know, well, one they just reached out to me because it's just an art class thing. And one, was for both of us to be there. And I'm sad you're not going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
But it should be fun nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pumping the new book here, the extended edition. Extended?
I call it expanded, but
the EE. The new edition of Group of 7, The Most Secret Tale, is available now on our website, of course, at group7comics.ca. And, of course, the number is 7, not the word 7. And this features the story of 7 famous Canadian historical figures who really served in World War I on a secret fictional adventure to save the world. And we're really proud of getting this project done 3 times.
Yeah, seriously.
You know what I mean?
Third form.
I still remember that lovely day when you pitched the idea and said, "Hey, you want to make a comic book together?" I thought you were a crazy person. And then when you said the title, I was like, that's the good kind of crazy. We got to do this. And we did.
13 books later, man. 13 books.
Yes. And I'm enjoying working on issue 9. And also I'm working on that Battober stuff.
Yeah, those are looking great. Those are looking great. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been fun. Kind of, I did not get the head start that I wanted. I didn't, I don't have like a backlog of completed ones, but I do have pencils done for maybe the next 4. It's not the inks.
Okay, cool.
So lots to do every day, which is a blast. My band is getting busy. I don't know what's going on there, dude. I was trying to slow down with that. The opposite.
They're drawing you back in.
3 shows in the next month, so it's getting busy. I'm too old for this shit, man.
You are. It's true.
Yeah. All right. It's still early in the evening, so I'm looking forward to calling a night and watching Ahsoka while fishing up some more Batman. Thank you. I know that Chuck's been here and active in the chat, so Chuck, thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks, buddy.
Always good to have you here. And I hope everyone out there in the internet land is doing well and you're enjoying X-Men comics of any era. And whatever era is your favorite spot, they're classic to somebody. You know what I mean? And this is definitely a sweet and classic era for me to be reading. So, Chris, thanks for joining me on that. And other than that, that's it, Dud. Hey, that's it, dude or bud. I said dud, but that's my bad. That's it, dude.
Could be calm A, a little calm, but calm B.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Have a good night.
Right.
Good night out there. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. See you next time on
Go Jays.
in X-Men and Go Blue Jays.